As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom? It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics and Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Of course, good morning to the United States of America. And good morning to the world listening to us via the magic of El Internet, created by you, created by we, the people, but now, for all practical purposes, governed by the billionaire class, something that we must do something about in the near term. Take back what's ours. Anyway, folks, without further ado, let's throw it to the studio. Good morning, my hermanos favoritos, los genios del estudio. How are you guys doing this morning?
Those heinous people in the studio, I'll tell you. It's Monday, the 10th of February, 2025, and very interesting developments going on with the Treasury Department that they have now gained access to an unauthorized, non-governmental official has now gained access to our Treasury Department. Jack, what do you think about that? That sounds like either the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. I'm not sure which.
No,
I am just waiting for.
I was saying it was full of hooey.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking, how much longer do you think it's going to take for them to start selling your information off to telemarketing and marketing people? I mean,
it's done. I consider it done already. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're going to sell your information. They're going to get all kinds of telemarketing calls. Hi, Mr. Jones. We want to buy your house for $5.
I'm not Mr. Jones.
Okay, well, that's how you're registered with the Treasury. You're registered as Mr. Jones.
But I mean, we were worried about TikTok. And, you know, the thing about it is Elon Musk has a great relationship with China. He's building factories there and he has alliances with China that he needs. And we're so concerned about China. And we give this guy free reign with 19, 20, 24-year-olds. Free reign. Guys that are hackers. Free reign to our data, which is more insecure. It's amazing. And, you know, most Americans don't know that. It's insane. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, it's insidious and it's insane, too. Because any of those 19-year-old to 24-year-old followers of Musk, they're going to sell that stuff. And how do you trust a 19-year-old with all of your information? I don't. Well, not that I dislike 19-year-olds or don't think that they're, you know, good, but they're teenagers and they do stupid things.
Thank you. That's the magic that you've just said. It's, you know, it's like what my daughter was saying. My daughter said, you know, she just passed 30 years old. I think she's 33 now. And she says, like, you know, I was stupid in my 20s, you know, and she constantly says that. She's like, it's not developed yet. Your mind isn't, and you do a lot of things you shouldn't do. But my God.
I still do that. But I just learned how not to get caught. No,
right.
I'm kidding. But still in all, this is an abomination of what's going on. I mean, I cannot believe that they're letting this guy get away with this stuff. And Congress is sitting there going, well, you know, Donald said it's okay to do. And you know, and he said it was all right. And they're friends. And no, man, no, there has to be a line drawn somewhere. So anyway, that's my rant for today. Jack has a half a page of wisdom here, so I think he'll probably make more sense than I do.
Good morning, Roberto. How are you?
Good morning, my brother. I'm doing just fine. Talk to me.
Well, this is about the Supreme Court. America, look where you're at. Your Supreme Court is out of balance, and some of the justices are corrupted by wealthy conservatives seeking to influence Supreme Court decisions. It is clearly making decisions that favor corporate wants and desires and denying the people of their rights. At what point does the Supreme Court become illegitimate and a puppet court for wealthy tycoons? It already is.
Well, that was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes. That was yesterday.
A couple of months back. Yeah, I knew this. So this whole thing, I don't even know what's going on with our government. I mean, I read so much stuff over the internet, and also good news, reliable news sources, Reuters, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and they're all saying the same thing. Are they really lying to us? No, I don't think so.
No, they're
And
not
that's
lying to us at all. No.
Yeah. Egberto, we have sufficiently hijacked your show for the first 5 minutes here.
Uh,
So we're going to hand it back to you for a really great show today.
well, you know what? Before going to the show proper, you can't hijack what you're a part of. So that's not possible. That's
Oh,
just saying, just saying. But anyhow,
That
look.
just canceled that argument for you, Howard.
I'm just going to go sit back here behind the control board and push buttons
Anyway,
dejectedly
folks,
pushing.
we're going to have a great show. The title of the show today is "The Country Is Still Ours. What Can Be Done About the Left's Diminished DNC Presence?" Look, um, I, I I have a lot to talk about, but what I want to do is sometimes I want to air a video. I want to get it out first, and then we can do all the other stuff, including taking calls, etc. But let me preface this. I think it was on someday last week. I was invited to give a talk at the Kingwood Area Democrats, and I went there with one plan to talk about. Then I looked around at the audience and I heard what the audience was, different folks who were talking about. There were a whole bunch of people out there were talking about, and I said, you know what? I'm going to change what I'm going to talk about on the fly because I think it was apropos. So I want you to listen to this because it was sort of a pep talk, but also a reality that we ought to stay in the game, and we must stay in the game, and we must be ready because again, things don't stay the same. And as I ended that talk, I said, remember, we are, and I don't mean this to disparage others, but when you look at what those of us stand for, we're the ones that are standing up for all of you, whether you are a liberal, conservative, MAGA, whoever you are. The policies that we talk about are policies or things that all benefit not some, but all. So anyway, I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go on to the sort of the live part of the show. So here we go.
Well, I want to thank Ellie for giving her to speak. And the truth of the matter is, I had something to talk about, and I changed it just as soon as I got here because I said, what we really want is a positive message, right? Everybody's right now kind of feeling bad. We lost the election. We didn't lose the election. We lost the people. That's how I look at it. Most Americans are progressive. I want you to keep that in your head. Most Americans are progressive. Our MAGA friends, our MAGA brothers and sisters, I know you don't like that, our MAGA brothers and sisters, they are progressive. You go ahead and you start asking questions and you find out, guess what? These people are just like me. I know it's hard for us to accept that, but I try to talk to just about everybody. When I get folks singularly separated from their group, the one thing I realize is that all of us basically, except for certain key issues, we pretty much think alike. I was on the radio talking about Donald Trump for a long time, right? And I also spoke a whole lot about how big this election was going to be. And guess what else I said? We are going to win this election big. Democrats are going to win this election big. I made bets on it. And the truth of the matter is, the problem that I had is I completely misunderstood what the population really looked like. I live in Kingwood. First of all, I'm looking at this place in Kingwood, right? This looks like America. We have all kind of folk in here. right? But I want to say something to my white brothers and sisters first of all. This is important. How the hell do you do it in Kingwood? That means you are special. To go against peer pressure, living in a place like Kingwood, you guys around here are special folks. That's the first thing I want to put out there. Because it is not easy being able to say, I want to jump on the bandwagon that is more comfortable for me to jump. And I'm looking around, and he didn't do it. I'm going to tell you a little story. My daughter had 2 strokes in the last 3 or 4 years. It was difficult. It was the worst time of my life. The last 5 years were horrendous. Taking care of her and bringing her back. This is the first Christmas that we could sit down. We normally have a whole bunch of folks over for Christmas. This time we had 9 people. It was 4.5 immigrants and 3.5 Americans. I figured by now you can figure that Ashley is a half. It's interesting because we started talking. Politics came up, of course. Trump had already won. And I'm talking to my Jamaican brother, my Panamanian brother, and all these other folks. And we were talking politics, and Ashley out of the blue, she kind of says things out of the blue a lot.
Go, Ashley.
She says, I don't know why you immigrants have so much faith in America. And then I looked at her and she repeated it again. Why do you all have so much faith in America? She's a millennial. We're all grown. I looked at Norman, my buddy from Jamaica, and I said, she doesn't get it. We came over here based on what America said it is supposed to be. She's lived America her entire life. So I came back and I said to her, let me tell you one thing though. Those of us who came over here from Panama, Jamaica, Costa Rica, wherever we came from, we came over here knowing that it wasn't going to be easy, and whatever it is, we were kind of like stuck here, you know? And therefore, for us, it's not about just throwing our hands up in the air. It's actually about making America live up to who America says it is. What does that really mean? That means actively participating in the American dream. That's what it means. It means never giving up. My daughter was right in her belief, but she was wrong in moving forward. You have to stay in the game. And that's what we do. More so, a lot of us come over here and get it done. Why did Kamala Harris lose? Why do you think she lost? What else?
She had 3 things against her: black, woman, and progressive.
Right. Okay.
That one.
Remember a woman called Hillary Clinton? Remember a guy called Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you a little story. I remember when Barack just came out. Barack went to all the universities in Texas. Texas State University, University of Texas, and all these universities. And all these folks from Kingwood, the kids came home and they brought Obama's book and they talked about this black dude named Obama, and they brought him. And in Kingwood, I started going to all these people's homes in Kingwood. I was first a Hillary Clinton supporter before I was a Barack Obama supporter. I never thought Barack Obama had a chance in hell, okay? I was a Hillary Clinton supporter. And I remember after Brother Clinton said something that pissed me off, I then moved on to Obama. But then in Kingwood, you had all these Republicans in Kingwood having parties for Obama. Yes. And I went to a lot of Republican homes having parties. And I remember going home to my wife one time and I said, this scares me. This can't last. How can this guy in Republican land be doing the way he's doing? And I just said, well, you never know, things have really changed. I wasn't buying into the change quite yet. So the election went on, and by the time he won the primary and he was going against, I think it was McCain, and they were doing canvassing all over the country. And I remember, I still didn't think, even though I was supporting him, I didn't think, well, he's going to win against this guy. They were canvassing in Pennsylvania, and they walked up to this home in Pennsylvania, and they asked the woman who was at the door, who are you voting for? Okay? The woman turned around to her husband. Women, don't look at me. I didn't think that. But the woman turned around to her husband and said, honey, who are we voting for?
Exactly.
And the guy said, said, let them know we're voting for the end guy. I want y'all to digest that. And because I'm bringing that forward. So Barack Obama goes ahead and he wins the election. I want you to remember everything that occurs at the transition between Republicanism and Democratic transition, between Bush, Obama, between Trump, and the next one. It's always seemed like the Democrat elected when they have to clean up something, right? But anyway, it turns out that that's what he said Obama won the election. Hillary comes, let's be clear here. Hillary still won the election. It's a crazy thing about the Electoral College. All of you know that why she didn't win it says that. But she won by 3 million votes. Here comes Kamala. Kamala is running after Biden. And Kamala gets the 3rd most votes ever gotten in American history. And still lost the election by 1.5 points. What was the difference between Obama, Kamala, and Hillary? So 19 million people didn't vote. That is correct. But there's another thing about the economy. Remember what it was supposed to be. Remember that stuff on the price of eggs? Oh, yeah. The price of eggs. That did her in, right? Did that do Kamala in? That's what everybody said, the price of eggs. Because nobody wanted to confront the truth about why she lost. She lost because, 1, she's a woman. 2, because she's black and Asian. And 3, because she's a progressive. The reason I brought those 3 up, if the economy was bad, there's a better chance that Kamala would have won. Think about that. They made it the economy that was the issue, but if the economy was bad, this guy said, I will vote for the end because of my personal economy. Nobody had to worry about their personal economy. They knew the truth. But what the news tell us all of the times is that, well, it was the economy. Because nobody wants to tell the truth. So let's compress. And this is the part that I really want to get to. Right now that we have Donald Trump in power, Donald Trump understands America better than anybody else. Okay? Because what Donald Trump understands is this. What is the 3 letters that everybody's talking about? DEI. DEI. Why do you think he's using DEI?
Racism.
But the thing about it is, it's not, he's using DEI not for the racists. He's using DEI for those people that are scared.
Right.
Okay? DEI is not for the racists. DEI is for the scared folks. When times get hard, everybody looking for the boogeyman. And if I am the one losing the job, I want to find that boogeyman. And the boogeyman can be the Mexican, the black man, the boogeyman can be anything. So what it's trying to do is put white people in fear. They want you to be fearful. They want you to look at me and say, oh my God, that big black dude, I am scared of him. That's what they want to do. When I come to you guys, that is where all of you come in. Because the only way to fight this is for other people who look like you to realize that you know better than they do. It is going forward for us to win this battle. The question used to be, who is a swing voter or who is the voter that makes the difference? I want to tell you something, white women, the real swing voter is you guys, okay? And by the way, let me just tell you first of all, if for everybody listening, I think one of the stupidest things on the planet is race. But we live in a racialized society. So I got to get and talk about that stupid issue. That is the most silly subject to talk about. But that said, I think it's important for us going forward. And this is specifically to white women and also white guys. The only way we gonna get this country back if the sensible folk go out there and talk to people who have your interests, people who you can talk to. If I go into certain spaces, I can't say certain things in certain spaces, but you can. You can, and you may think all these people are crazy, but remember peer pressure. Peer pressure works. Peer pressure works. And Donald Trump, what he's doing right now is not affecting. Look, Latinos. I'm a black Latino. Latinos and all the other folks, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, all these folks. You know what's the secret about it? These folks know about pain. They can pain. But most Americans don't live in that frame. Okay? So what it's important for folks to do is to realize that what Trump is doing right now now is going to affect MAGA more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because all of you guys in here are much more well off, every single one of you, than the average MAGA.
Yep.
All of you. And the fact of the matter is, when his stuff starts to hurt, that is the door for all of us. That is the door that we have to wait for. You can't be there to say, I told you so. You have to be there giving them a place to land. It's the land. And that place to land is what's going to make the difference. A lot of people are worried about, is the country over? Hey, there's the Red Scare. I didn't live the Red Scare. Too young for the Red Scare. Yeah, but the Red Scare, I can imagine how those people felt. The feelings are the way we feel now. So bottom line, and I'm going to close, and it goes as follows. The country is still in our hands. It's just temporarily ceded to those who got lucky. I'm serious as a heart attack. We've simply ceded the country temporarily, but we are the ones on the right side of history. We are the ones that are moral. We are the ones who care about people. We are the ones who care about humanity. And don't let anybody take that away from us. And don't feel bad about that. Feel encouraged about that. And with that, muchísimas gracias.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time. Okay, that was the talk that I gave. And if you notice, I did a whole lot of chopping to make it, it was a 30-minute stuff. So I needed to cut it down to about 12 minutes. So I really kind of just sort of got the highlights. But anyhow, one of the things that I wanted to give as an upbeat message to everybody listening there, to everybody listening today is this. It is easy to feel fatalistic. It is easy to sit back and believe that, oh, things are over. America has gone through these things many times before. You have to realize that democracy and all these things, it's not something that you win and then you just sit back. In fact, one of the problems we had when Obama won is that we won, we felt good, we sat back. You got Biden winning, you win, you sit back. And when you sit back, all those evil forces who only believe in capital, they get a chance to grow again. And that is what you have to remember. Now, you may sit back and think, well, everybody is on Trump's bandwagon or his side. No, they're not. No, they're not. The things are starting to fall. This morning I woke up and I did my perusing of the news as I usually do and find out now that farmers, because of all these shutdowns and stopping of paying bills, etc., farmers who were promised by the government that after they've made these additions to their farms, they would get offset with subsidies, etc., because that's what the bills that were passed under Biden said. Donald Trump just stopped it. So he screwed a whole lot of farmers. Specifically, farmers reported missing millions of dollars of funding they were promised by the U.S. Agriculture Department, despite promises from the Trump administration that a federal funding freeze would not apply to projects directly benefiting individuals. He's only been there 2.5 or 3 weeks. And already, people that are naturally his constituents, I don't know why they are, but culturally, they think that they're supposed to support guys like him. And they are already feeling the pain of his actions. That only grows more and more because the reality is the people that supports Trump is there for a very few, but he needs to use a few people to get him there. So given that he knows how to lie unabashedly, he does it, get the support of those people, knowing that he's only going to be there for a while. Why he wants to rush and get all his things done in the first 6 months is, why? Because after he gets it done, which is a master screwing of most Americans, he doesn't have to worry anymore. The job would have been done. So what else is he doing? There's this stuff called the CFPB, right? The CFPB stands for the Consumer Protection Bureau Okay? This is the organization that makes sure that if your credit card bills you and you think they've doing you wrong and you complain to them and they say we don't care, you just pay the bill or we're gonna mess your credit report up. You have a governmental body that can arbitrate that issue, right? That government entity, since its creation just during the Obama administration, has gotten back over $21 billion in fraudulent charges corporations have done to the American people. $21 billion of stolen money that had to be returned because of the CFPB. I consider that a hell of a return and investment for a government body that actually works for you. Now, Donald Trump for the OMB secretary, he went ahead and appointed Russell Vought. Russell Vought is a guy who believes the executive has unlimited power. Okay? That's what I believe. And the first thing that he did is put those 1,700 employees that are actually successful in their jobs on hiatus. Stop your work. Stop defending the American people. The CFPB isn't there for Democrats. The CFPB isn't there for Republicans. The CFPB isn't there for just these few people. The CFPB is there for all aggrieved Americans who are screwed as consumers by a bunch of companies who just do what they do best, parasitically steal from them. Your credit card company charging you 28% interest, 30% interest when they can get money from the government at 4, 5, 6% interest. But they stick you with these ridiculous claims of these types of bills, right? That's what it's there for. And what did he do? Shut it down. Earlier, you heard Howard talking about Elon Musk going into Treasury, going into all these other companies, right? And what are they doing? They are just taking data. We were concerned about TikTok. I was never concerned about TikTok, but our government, both Democrats and I should say neoliberal Democrats and Republicans alike, were concerned about your data. And one of the things I've always said is TikTok doesn't need to take your data from you. There are a lot of capitalists all over America ready to sell your data. Zuckerberg has proved that. Zuckerberg, all these guys have your data, and it's all for sale. China doesn't have to come in and say, I need to put a TikTok into America to get America data. But that is what they know. That is what these politicians would like you to believe in order to usurp another market. But now Musk is in there. So having Musk in your treasury, knowing all your information, tax and otherwise, they know everything about you. At first, these were insular agencies that kept your data. Now, a bunch of 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds, along with Master Musk, they have command of your data. Remember, less than 50% of Americans voted for Trump. Less than 20% of the entire American population voted for Trump. But they have your data, and they can do whatever they want with it, right? And we were concerned about China. I'm more concerned about Musk, who has a great relationship with China. China could blackmail Musk. I'll shut your billion-dollar factories down in China, lest you give me all that data you collected from America. Have you ever thought about that? Oh, Musk won't do that. You think so? Musk is a apartheid believing South African, naturalized American, who was originally, according to his brother, an illegal alien. I notice I'm using illegal alien for him just for impetus. Folks, we have to get real. Now, like I told my brothers and sisters, my Kingwood Area Democrats, I said, be ready not to tell somebody I told you so, but to give folks a place to land. Because Americans, a lot of Americans are going to need a place to land when they finally find out that they've been had. There is so much lying that can go uncontested. And eventually, Americans are going to realize, oh my God, look at what we've done. We've given the keys to this guy who has taken it all. And now we are not getting paid. And now to give more to the rich just to take where it comes from us. And you know, most of the us's that it's coming from are the ones who voted for him. So, folks, let's wake up. Let's get smart. All right, let's go to El Senor Ray, line number one. And folks, don't forget, we're taking calls now. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Brother Ray, come on in, my dear brother. It's great hearing you at the 6 o'clock hour as well as the 3 o'clock hour. Talk to me, brother.
Yes, top of the morning to you and all of the listeners out there. I just want to bring light to something you brought up, and, ever since, Obama's final term and Trump's beginning term, I did notice some changes. Now, in Obama's first term, I remember, getting a credit card and things like that, and I remember my interest was pretty low. But then when Trump took over, I noticed the interest rate started to crawl up, and that's because why? The CFPB has been defunded. They had been weakening it for years. Now let's just break down, and I'm not going to take too much time. Let's just break this down because sometimes people don't really take into context what these bureaus are and what they do. Let's break down that particular bureau. First, two letters. Consumer finance. What is that? That's us, the people, the masses. That's our money. So you need to understand these are the people that are what? Protection. So they are protectors of the people's money. And this is a bureau we should have the utmost investment in. Because why? The majority of the people need their money to be protected. The majority of the people probably have credit cards with an interest rate that they can't afford because the credit card companies don't have any oversight because they got rid of the regulations. So it's just basically what these parasites are doing is they're taking over the government so they can suck as much money dry from the economy as they possibly can, and as if they haven't sucked as much money as they can. It's like if you could imagine, going outside and there's a big vacuum going to the sky, and every time you take $1 out of your pocket, it just gets sucked up to the sky. That's basically what we're in. If you want to make a little funny, image in your mind of what it's like, they're constantly funneling money to the top and leaving us with nothing, and it's just like, at what point do people wake up and realize who these parasites are so we can knock them off like the leeches that they are and stop bleeding us dry?
Now, I want to say, and that's our job, right? Our right now, for a lot of reasons, a lot of our press they're neutered. If you take a look at the layoffs that's occurring at CNN, the layoffs that are occurring at MSNBC, the layoffs that are occurring at major newspapers, etc., it's the methodical destruction of the organized mainstream media. And now it's in our hands now. And, we have to take our civic responsibility with what we're doing here. And I made that commitment several years ago. There are a lot more making those commitments. One of the guys that I respect so much, Acosta from CNN, who they were trying to appease Trump by throwing him at midnight somewhere, and he decided, no, I'm not going to go on at midnight. I need to be able to be telling the truth. So he retired from CNN and decided to go on this same platform that we're on now as well, Substack, and now is doing his program from Substack. Same thing we have with Don Lemon and others. They're saying, you know what? Okay, we'll leave, but you know what? We are going to go into the space and be truly independent media. And who do we serve? We serve the people. And who funds us? The people. So when I talk about KPFT, when I talk
I
about
love Don
politics done
Lemon, by the
right,
way.
say that. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I love Don Lemon, by the way. He's been doing big things.
Hmm.
Him, Roland Martin, you, I mean, all of y'all doing fantastic job. If I could just, get past my anxiety, I might jump in that ring, along with y'all. It's just,
Sir, let me tell.
it's
Let me correct you. I want to correct you right now. You are in the game already. When everybody that calls in and show this sort of interest on what we're doing gives us the ability to expand and have people understand, because your voice represents a whole lot of people. Your feelings represent a whole lot of people, and it actually then multiplies, and that's what we got to keep doing. Hey, Ray, my lines are completely full. Let's talk at 3.
all right. Well, I'll just say this. If I am in a fight, I'm going to make sure I bring my folding chair.
There
But
you
you
go,
have a
brother. Thank you, brother. Peace. All right, let's go to Robin. Come on in, Robin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. And Ray, this is Robin from Indianapolis. Your voice is being heard. So, yes, you are in the game. Every simple action matters. I have two things to bring up to callers. One, there's this bill being proposed called the SAVE Act. It's going to require like birth certificates and passports to match your name. And guess what, to MAGA, if you love your Trump, you better, if you're married to a man and you've changed your name, you're going to give up your right to vote for him. And then, so back on my track, make sure as we deregulate the government and things are going to go slower, make sure your kids have their passports. And that means now, make sure you have your passport. And if you are ready to consider changing your name to your original name that was on your birth certificate, do that. And then the second thing that I wanted to talk about was and make people aware of, February 28th is Blackout Day, where, and this is where I would like to tell people, especially if you are fluent in another language, this is where undocumented workers, undocumented immigrants can also protest. Don't spend your money on February 28th to like big companies like Amazon, only to, local people. So those are two things that you can do to fight back. And I was part of the Wednesday protest, and good, healthy way to release anger. And MAGA rallies worked. Why wouldn't, the protests bring up, the courage in people? So that's all I got.
Thank you very much, Robin, for that inspiring. And you keep up doing. Stay you already said it. We're staying in the game. Stay in the game, sister. You have a great day. Okay.
I lost you.
Take care now. Bye bye. All right, let's go to Augie, brother Augie. Come on in.
Good morning. Yeah, I was wanted to talk about the Marine that called Friday. Wonder if he ever thinks about his fellow Marines that are in Tijuana, Juarez, and Nogales that were promised citizenship. They went to Afghanistan and Iraq, but then when the terms of enlistment were over, they were kicked back to Mexico, and they wear the maroon and gold T-shirt, Marine T-shirt, and the Marine cap. but your fellow Marines were kicked out. That's because the Republicans have gutted the American military. There aren't enough Americans willing to go fight for America. They depend on the Guard and the reserves, and the Guard and reserves have immigrants too. Like 1,600 of them were active duty. Another 1,600 were in the Guard and reserves. And but then I also wanted to talk about the press secretary that Trump had. This woman, she was talking about these criminals that got blown on the planes, and then she was talking about, and then some reporter asked her about what about the illegal aliens. Well, she said, well, if they're illegal, they're criminals. No, they're not. Illegal means that there's a law that somebody made, like Republicans, and doesn't mean the law is right, moral, or just. It just means it's legal, and if you go against it, you're illegal. It doesn't mean you're a criminal. There's a difference. Criminality is you're harming somebody. Illegal is you're not following this law. That some man-made law, for some reason made it up. And they also talk about running the government like it's a business. And how are they going to run it? By cutting costs, firing employees. A business does not run by cutting costs. It runs and exists by bringing income in, by raising money. And how does it raise money? By taxes. That's how the government stays in business. If everybody pays taxes, we're going to have a great country. And we had a great country in the 50s and 60s because the FDR made the billionaires pay taxes. But
Amen.
the billionaires want to pay taxes. And every Republican from Eisenhower on has reduced the tax burden on the billionaires, but not on us. And I like the way you said something about how people call us, divide us up by class. We're not a class society. It's incomes, like you said. It's high income, middle income, and the middle income people are getting smaller and smaller because the higher income people are taking away our jobs. They're firing us.
Look, I got to go, Audie, but Augie, you're absolutely right. I love that you said that because what happens is when you do the math, I always talk about our economy being a math problem, a formula. And the formula that's running our capitalist economy right now does exactly that. And if it continues to do that, by definition, just a mathematical equation itself tells you that we are all, except for the very few to the top, we're on a path to full indentured servitude. But we'll talk about that another time. Augie, my phones are full, so I got to go to Moses. I appreciate your call, my brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Moses. Come on in, Moses. Come on in.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, hermana.
Which one is it Howard who always says rats?
Yeah, that's Howard. Rats. That's Howard for you.
All right. Well, this is what is happening in this country now. We are invaded by rats in high places. And they are violating. And the robbers, there's an end to it. The robbers of the people will come to their end. No matter what, it'll come to an end. In every civilization has found the strength to push out the enemy within by a revolution of the people. This breach in the security of the American people is rising. And it will rise up high, like a high wall, which will burst. And all of the Elon Musk and all of them and their leaders, they will fall under the rage of the people. Because it is so much that you can squeeze somebody's toes before they push you out.
That is so true. That is so true. And you know what? If you notice the talk that I gave to CAD, the Kingwood Area Democrats, what I said is be there, be ready, not to tell these folks as they realize they've been conned that I told you so. Don't be there for that. Be there to give them a place to land and be there to be. Remember, we represent humanity, we represent morality, we represent that which is good, and that's all we need to say. Anything else,
Again,
Moses? I got to go to David. Go ahead, real quick, Moses.
quickly again, if you look at all of the revolutions that have taken up, the French Revolution, the whatever else, it's always when the people have had enough,
Hmm.
and then
I've
the washing comes, and that's
Thank you.
it.
Thank you, sis. Let's go to David. But before I get to David, I want to welcome Eric Hayes, Glenn Ryan, Lee the Bearcat. We also have Jay Ray in the chat this morning. Lee, I want to, not Lee, I want to answer Glenn Ryan, but let me get to David first and then I'll talk to you, Glenn. Come on in, David.
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm at the point right now where I'm almost ready to give up on your show. And the reason why is because you, like so many other people, you try to insinuate that you're interested in truth and you're interested in understanding things about the system we live in. But there's one major aspect of the system that you ignore. I call it the biggest elephant in the living room. You just asked a question at the beginning of your show.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, David.
Okay, you asked a question at the beginning of your show in respect to people who vote for Donald Trump, and you said, well, they vote against their interests, and I don't really understand why they do. Well, let me give you a bit of, if I can do this, Egberto, let me give you a bit of enlightenment on this issue. Why do you think they vote for Donald Trump? Why do you think that Donald Trump has ensconced himself in one of the most powerful forces in this country? Although it's a minority, it probably has a lot more power, and it really aggravates me that it does, because it doesn't deserve the power. It's called evangelical fundamentalist Christianity, and it is based on a damn myth. But Egberto, you pander to it just like so many other people. On your show, you say things about Jesus. And I'm telling you this, Egberto, you don't even know whether Jesus even existed or not, but yet you treat him as though he is an absolute fact. And I'm telling you, Egberto, if you have to answer this question, I will ask you this. What evidence do you have to prove that Jesus actually existed?
All right, let's do this first of all. Let's first of all talk about giving up on my show because of the issue that I actually do some pandering to those who believe in Jesus. Let me just tell you a little bit of my history. I grew up a Christian, okay? That's how I grew up. And after being a Christian, I went to Maranatha church at the University of Texas, who followed the Bible to the T. And then I learned a whole lot about what the belief system was. It wasn't what I thought it was, having read the entire New Testament myself. And that turned me into a humanist. But as a host, as somebody that has empathy and compassion, I cannot look at myself as an absolutist. I will never give myself that responsibility of being an absolutist. I have to go where people are. Hear me out, David. Go ahead, David. Go ahead. Ask.
If you have to go by what the evidence demands, and I'm not expecting you to stomp on people and say you got to think just like me.
Let
But
me
the
answer
point,
that question. The evidence. Let me answer the evidence question. The evidence is no. I have no evidence. Right? There's a lot of stuff I don't have evidence on. There are certain scientific principles that if I in the current gravitational field, if I drop a ball, it'll hit the floor. But there are a lot of things that we accept on faith. Even those of us that are progressives, there are things that we accept on faith. All right. I and what I have to do is try to have people's faith square with reality. Now, I am not here to discuss religions per se. And by the way, you are right about what the evangelicals are doing to our body politic. And I think I called that out. I think I do a good job of calling that out. But I have to be careful in where we deal with things with faith, even with you. I have to be careful that, the things that you say have validity. I may not agree with it, but it has validity. So there's a thin line between those different aspects. And that's what I try to respect, David.
Well, here's the thing about my position, Alberto. Before you interrupt, I'll say this. I try to make sure that when I express an opinion, that I do whatever I can. I go out of my way, like in the context of the Bible. I've been
Mm-hmm.
studying this for close to 60 years. I've
Mm-hmm.
read numerous books on the issue to understand that I am on firm ground when I say that the Bible is basically a myth that the people who wrote it, I don't even know who they are. Nobody alive right now knows who wrote the Bible.
And
There's
I
a guy
can't
named
argue with David. I can't argue with you on that because, okay, I really can't argue with you on that, right? There's one
well, I'm
thing
not
I
expecting to argue,
no,
but
no, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying I'm a humanist. I'm a humanist. But here's the thing that I know. I know there's a hell of a lot that I don't know. I honestly know I don't know. We talk about the Big Bang. What came before the Big Bang? I don't know. There is so much I don't know. And that's why I have to give
hey,
latitude. David, do me a favor. David, I respect, brother. I respect you. Give me a call other days as well. We can continue this over the time, but my phones are jam and I got to get to other folks. Okay, brother?
okay. You have a good
Peace.
day, Ray.
You too, brother. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, I'm going to have to ask everybody to make it quick now. Come on in, Bruce.
Yeah, I want to discuss public education, why science as a fact and not an opinion is important. I went to have an x-ray a few years ago, and I mentioned to the girl, the radiologist, what a complicated machine you have there. And she goes, yeah, if you took the guts out of 3 or 4 of these and banded them together, you'd have what they dropped on Hiroshima. I said, pardon me? She goes, well, quantum mechanics, steel relativity, all that's a bunch of malarkey. She goes, basically, you want an atomic bomb, just take the guts out of a few of these. I'm thinking, where did she go to school at? My goodness.
She
We
don't know
need to put
critical mass. Yeah.
money in public education, and Abbott wants to attack public education. I'm done. Yeah, I made it quick. Bye.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Yeah, there's something called critical mass. That's where fission reaches the point of maximal efficiency. Let's go to Betty. Come on in, Betty, real quick, my dear sister.
Good morning, Alberto. Let me give you the Betty of the Monday. On Trump, you get rid of one bully, and he is replaced by another bully. Always will be. Supreme Court now, their mind is nowhere. They sit, wait, and use words. They take so much, and we're not to feel free, to feel the feeling of free. We're ruled by brown noses, the money. It's on our backs, though. We get poorer and poorer. And on China, 3 years ago, when you bought a washing machine from them with all the bells and whistles, they wanted personal information then, and they sure want more now. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Betty. Love you, girl. All right, let's go to Brother Derek. Come on in, Derek.
Hey, good morning. Quickly, I just wanted to say, have the people forgotten that Facebook is a people-driven company? You have the power to ask Zuckerberg what the Zuck is going on here. And you do have other social media companies that you can colonize. And lastly, Alberto, between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it looks like muskrat love. Play that song by the Captain O'Neal and think about them too. You're going to have a good laugh today.
Thank you very much, Derek. You have a wonderful day, dear brother. All right, let's go to Mike. Come on in, Mike.
Hello,
Mike, I'm doing fine. Talk to me, brother.
It's about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They serve the purpose because I received over $2K in refund from a class action. So when people come on talking about the government is the problem, government is our solution, but it's the wrong people that's running it. Look at what you're getting right now. It's obvious that a coup is being committed against our country, and Elon Musk is leading it, and he's not a natural born citizen. He's unelected. But the people don't seem to have a problem with him, as long as it's not Kamala or the Democratic Party. It's a sad situation. We're in a lot of trouble, but we got a lot of work.
Let me tell you, Mike, you're absolutely right on both points. And the thing, I'm glad that you mentioned that about the CFPB, it being the solution as well. So look, thank you for following. Thank you for listening, folks. And, you keep listening and keep calling. All right, brother? Thank you very much. All right, last call. Let's go to Brian. Brian, real quick, without much time.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders went on CNN this weekend and said that Congress has control of USAID, that Elon Musk cannot and shall not do anything with the money. Now, here is something for Howard to look up. Who controls line by line who pays for USAID? Congress, Treasury Department, or the Secretary of State? Has Congress got anything to do with control of the money?
Actually, the way our government works, if you read the Constitution, Congress is the one who allocates how the money is going to be spent. They turn that into a bill, and that bill is then signed by a president, and the executive is responsible for executing the will of the people, which means, and
Look
Congress
it up.
represents the will of the people. That's it. It's that simple. It's not complicated
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
hey Brian, I did just look it up. It says Congress controls it. The agency is funded by Congress. Hey,
Go ahead.
now, okay, the agency is funded by Congress, which allocates money for it through the state foreign operations and regulated programs, related programs, appropriates each fiscal year. So Congress controls it.
And that's, I mean, the funny thing about it, Howard, is Howard, what's so funny is all these folks that like to talk about Constitution, when we place the Constitution in front of them, right? They suddenly want to change it. It's just like what Van said about the judiciary. The judiciary ruled, and he said, no, the judiciary can't overrule executive. No, the judiciary is what interprets the Constitution. That's why we didn't like what the Supreme Court said, but we sure as hell have to live by. If we're going to follow a body of laws, we live by what they said, and to change that, we have to change the body
May I
politic.
interject, please? Time is running
Not
short. May I interject, please?
only if you're going to say something sensible. Go ahead, real quick.
Yes, line for line, USAID. Who controls it? On the spending portion of it, Congress may appropriate $40 billion line for line. Who approves the money spent?
Congress, let's be very factual. When Congress writes a law, Congress has the right to write a law that says this money in USAID is going to go here.
Who
That
controls the money line for line in USAID?
all right. Anyway, let's go studio. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
All right,
So is
Jack. Anything?
He says
All right.
no.
Here we go, folks. First of all, thank you very much. We kind of went over by a few seconds. politicsandright.com/newsletter. Rest of the show, politicsandright.com/newsletter. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government